Welcome back, warriors! In this guide, we'll go through everything you need to know about the Oblivion War to secure victory. With the new Oblivion War League event coming up, I wanted to make sure to get this out to you. So it may be a little rough, but it's going to have all the good stuff, and the extra juicy tactics are going to be in my Patreon-only group, so make sure that you're supporting me there to get access to the advanced strategies. Alright, let's dive in. The Oblivion War League is a 1-hour event where the Alliance battles for control of structures across the map. Your goal is to hold as many of these as possible to earn points for yourself and your Alliance. It's going to be very similar to regular Oblivion. There's gates, ruins, altars, temples, and camps spread out across the map, each offering different point values and control bonuses. To control a structure, you have to occupy it for 3 minutes, earning initial points for both you and your Alliance. For as long as you hold the structure, you'll earn points every second. The event takes place in phases. The preparation phase, there's no combat, but you can view the map, set markers, and strategize with your Alliance. Combat phase 1, the camps and altars open, and you can fight for those. Combat phase 2, the ruins, temples, and gates unlock for combat. In phase 3, the demon begins to march across the map, and whenever the demon passes through a structure you can control, you get bonus points. Let's dive into some of the basic strategies for success. One strategy is to focus on holding the key structures. So if your Alliance is strong enough to hold at least 3 or 4 key buildings, focus on securing the gates, ruins, and temples. These are the highest point generators, especially your gate, and your largest players should focus on defending these structures, while smaller players can support by occupying camps and altars to collect time points. The gate is worth 6,000 Alliance points for initial control and 20 points per second. Ruins and temples are 3,000 Alliance points for initial control and 10 points per second. Altars and camps are worth 1,200 Alliance points for initial control and 4 points per second. So if you're holding the ruins and the temples, you don't need to worry about the altars and the camp. The points from the gates, the ruins, and the temples alone will be enough to win the event. If you have a NAP agreement, send your smaller players to your camps and your gate to score their points, and have your bigger players focus on reinforcing ruins and temples in the center. I like to use the markers to tell my players which ones to fight over and which ones are NAP, so they know where to send full and they know where to send one troop. The second scenario is if you're not able to hold these key structures in the middle, consider shifting your focus to chasing the Titan or chasing the demon. This demon provides a huge point advantage when it passes through the structures that you hold, especially through the gates. So make sure you have at least a few marches positioned along the demon's path. You can focus on holding that building alone long enough to secure control of it and get the points when the demon passes through, and then vacate the building and move on to the next. You can also sometimes hold up the Titan or the demon from passing the buildings that are going to give points to the other team by continuously retaking that building right before it gets to their NAP buildings and leaving it and taking it and leaving it every 3 minutes so that the Titan never actually moves on to the next side. That can be a good way to interrupt the other team getting points as well. Which takes us to scenario 3, a demon or a Titan intercept team. You can make an advanced tactic to have a special team who is only chasing the Titan, dedicated to securing points by intercepting the demon as it moves across the map. You need to have a highly mobile team with a strong attack to do either rallies or individual attacks to get into the buildings and hold those in advance of the demon passing. So if you're struggling even to hold your own gate, a dedicated team or a strike team intercepting this demon can help turn the tide of the event in your favor. The next scenario, an effective strategy, especially in the early phases, is early building pressure, securing those occupation points, the initial occupation points. So remember how the event starts in 2 phases, right? The first phase, camps and altars unlock. So if you want to go take those camps and altars and get those early occupation points, and then after 3 minutes, you can leave them, and then you move and shift your focus to the ruins and the temples and the gates when they open. you can secure the initial occupation points for basically all of the buildings without needing to hold all of the buildings for the whole event. Those initial occupation points can quickly overpass the points that you get for occupation or continuously controlling the buildings throughout the battle. So focusing on the initial occupation and then kind of falling back to a defensive position can give you a strong advantage for the rest of the battle, and sometimes be enough to just hold the win or hold your lead without having to fight for the entire duration of the event. The last strategy that I am going to cover only for my special Patreon viewers here is the tactic that focuses on collecting the time points or the crystals. So one thing that I like to do if we're not going to be able to hold our buildings in free-for-all, mainly we've filled those nap buildings with one troop, is before the nap expires or the free-for-all starts, we all vacate those buildings. We have our smaller players and our farms use a shield and teleport to the center of the map, and then one by one we vacate our nap buildings and pick up our own crystals to make sure that the other side can't collect those and add them to their score. And then we systematically break the other team's nap buildings and have our smaller players and farms pick up those crystals as well. So this can be a good way to have the smaller players make sure they get full points if they didn't manage to secure their full points already, because the crystals do give them points. It also prevents the other team from adding those accumulated points to their score, and it adds them to ours instead. I hope this was helpful. Whether you're a seasoned player or you're new to Oblivion War, there's always some way to maximize your score. And even if you're not the strongest player on the field or not the strongest alliance, remember that you can win using smart tactics. Most players don't read the event guide and they just go in and start fighting over every building. So you can distract and engage the other team in a firefight over a building that doesn't matter at all, sometimes like one of the magic altars, while you sit and focus on the high value buildings. So hopefully you've learned something in this guide that you can use and adapt. If you come up with a new clever strategy, please do share it with me. If this is helpful and you find my material valuable, please consider supporting me on the Patreon. Just a few bucks a month can help me continue to make great content for all of you and give you access to my advanced tactics and strategies. Thanks, I'll see you in the next one.